The scent of lavender always reminds me of betrayal. It was the scent of the hand lotion Mary always used, the lotion she generously spread on my hands during one of our many pre-dinner chats, back when life was simpler, when friendship felt like an unbreakable vow. Mary, Rachel, and I, we were a trio, a force of female solidarity, or so I'd believed. Now, years later, the lavender scent claws at me, a constant bitter reminder of how easily those vows can shatter. It wasn't supposed to be this way. I had always considered myself lucky. David, my husband, is a loving, kind man, sometimes too predictable, maybe, but dependable. We built a comfortable life together, a life filled with weekend hikes, quiet dinners, and the low hum of domestic contentment. And then there were my friendships with Mary and Rachel, two vibrant women who made my life fuller, brighter. Mary, with her sharp wit and endless energy, always ready with a new adventure or a comforting hug. Rachel, quieter, more introspective, the calm voice of reason in our chaotic trio. We were each other's confidants, sharing the mundane and the magnificent, the heartaches and the triumphs. We were the sisters I never had. The unraveling began subtly. It wasn't a sudden explosion, more like a gradual erosion. James, a new colleague at my design firm, joined our team. He was charming, effortlessly charismatic, with a smile that could light up a room. I enjoyed his company, his easy banter, the way he understood my often abstract creative process. I found myself looking forward to our collaborations, the way our ideas sparked off each other. His presence introduced a new kind of energy into my life, an energy that felt both exciting and unsettling. My friendships with Mary and Rachel slowly shifted. They were no longer the center of my universe. Our usual meetups at Mary's apartment, filled with laughter and gossip, began to occur less frequently. I was spending more time at work, often staying late to finish projects with James, and when I did meet them, I found myself distracted, my mind still buzzing with the conversations we'd had. I could see their subtle glances, the unspoken questions that hung in the air, but I brushed them aside. I was just busy, I told myself, just focused on my career. Then, it happened. One evening, after a particularly long day, James and I were the last ones at the office. The city outside had grown dark, the only light filtering through the floor-to-ceiling windows, illuminating the scattered drafts of our project. As our conversation deepened, I found myself sharing things I had never told anyone, not even David. I confessed my anxieties about settling into the familiar rhythm of married life, the quiet longing for something more. James listened intently, his eyes holding my gaze, his presence creating a strange magnetic pull. When he leaned in, I didn't pull away. It was a slow, tentative kiss, but it sparked a fire, igniting emotions I never knew I possessed. It was a betrayal of everything I held dear, my marriage, my friendships. Yet in that moment, all that mattered was the intoxicating connection I felt to him. That first kiss led to more stolen moments. Brief touches, hushed conversations, late-night meetings under the guise of work. It was a whirlwind of passion and guilt, a dizzying dance between desire and conscience. I felt like two different people, Laurel, the devoted wife and loyal friend, and another Laurel, a woman consumed by forbidden desire. My friends noticed, of course. Mary, with her usual bluntness, called me out. "You're different, Laurel," she said over brunch one Sunday. "You're distracted, secretive. What's going on?" I'd lied, of course, told her it was just work stress, but the look in her eyes, the subtle shift in her body language, told me she didn't believe me. I could feel the distance growing between us. Rachel, always more observant, simply watched me, her silence more pointed than any accusation. The inevitable confrontation came during a chaotic, uncomfortable dinner party at my place. Mira and Marcus, mutual friends we rarely saw, were there, and the atmosphere was strained, thick with unspoken tension. It was a culmination of weeks of unspoken grievances and barely concealed resentments. After a couple of glasses of wine, Mary, ever the volatile one, finally exploded. "You've been acting strange for weeks," she yelled, her usually cheerful face contorted with anger. "What's going on, Laurel? Are you having an affair?" The words hung in the air, cutting through the awkward silence. My cheeks burned, and I could feel the blood drain from my face. I tried to deny it, to deflect, but the truth was written all over me. "It's not what you think," I mumbled, my voice barely above a whisper. But Mary was relentless. She pushed, prodded, demanding answers. And finally, under the weight of their collective gaze, I confessed. Tears streamed down my face as I recounted my secret affair with James, my lies, my betrayals. The room became unnervingly quiet. Even Mira and Marcus looked uncomfortable, unsure of how to react. The fallout was swift and brutal. Mary, her face a mask of hurt and anger, stormed out, not even bothering to look back. Rachel followed, her eyes filled with a sadness that cut deeper than any yelling could have. Mira and Marcus made a hasty, awkward retreat, leaving me alone in the wreckage of my own making. David, my husband, listened in stunned silence, his face etched with an expression I couldn't decipher. He didn't yell, didn't cry, didn't even speak. He just looked at me, his silence more painful than any outburst. I saw the foundation of our life shatter, the years of trust eroding before my very eyes. James tried to reach out, but I ignored his calls, his texts. I was drowning in regret, overwhelmed by the enormity of what I had done. I had not only betrayed my husband, but I had destroyed the unbreakable bond one shared with Mary and Rachel. The lavender scent of Mary's lotion, once a comforting reminder of friendship, now haunted me, a constant symbol of the irrevocable damage I had caused. I lost both my marriage and my friendships, all because of a few moments of weakness, of an impulse driven by an unfulfilled longing. Now, left to my own devices, I'm learning to live with the consequences of my actions, navigating a life riddled with remorse and regret. I sometimes wonder if things would have been different if I had been honest with them all along, if our friendship would have been strong enough to withstand the truth. But now, all I have is the bittersweet memories of what could have been, and the lingering scent of lavender, a heartbreaking reminder of what I have lost.